Released earlier this year, the Seti Brutale by British developer Tavalia Dame Studios is an inventive and unique murder mystery adventure that you'd be forgiven for missing. After all, you were probably too busy playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Nier Automata, Persona 5, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Skyrim, Splatoon 2, Wolfenstein 2, Sonic Mania, or Nath 2, just to name a few. God, it's been one hell of a year so far, hasn't it? Apart from Nath 2, that was a jolt, obviously. It's a funny joke. The Seti Brutale is something really special, and is a clear frontrunner for my personal game of the year, perhaps just inches behind the equally incredible Night in the Woods. It's not just that it contains a number of systems and mechanics that make it a joy to physically play, nor that visually it's one of the most stylish games to be released this year, or even that its colourful cast of characters make its narrative memorable beyond its ending scene. It's that the game in of itself feels like the carefully constructed labour of love. This is made evident by the passion the developers themselves have for the game. Speaking to gamesindustry.biz in 2016, technical director Tom Lansdale said, "We realised that having that sense of authenticity and sincerity about what you were doing was so important to making a good game in a good setting, and something that resonated with the audience as much as with the people making it. So we always felt that as long as we loved what we were doing, there was the best chance that other people would enjoy what we were making too." This aforementioned love for the game, its concept and its world, shines through within Brutale's relatively short runtime and is evident in every facet of the experience. Set in an old English mansion in an indeterminable time period, the Seti Brutale sees the player assume the role of elderly priest Lafcadio Boone, whose sole purpose is to traverse the estate in an effort to save a number of mask-wearing party guests from being brutally murdered by the house's staff. The owner of the house and the instigator of the party, the mysterious Marquis, has also seemingly vanished. After awakening in the chapel, Boone meets a mysterious woman who traps the priest in a time loop, allowing him to prevent the murders from ever happening by discovering how the masked perpetrators performed them in the first place. The house is a beautiful, sprawling collection of individual rooms, all presented like tiny cross-sections of a decadent dollhouse. Each area of the mansion is dedicated to one or two guests, and subsequent areas are blocked off and can only be entered once Boone has the required abilities gained by saving attendees from their assailants. This all blends together to create a game that functions like the clever mix between Cluedo, Resident Evil, and The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Players can use their newly acquired time travel ability to return to the start of the day as often as they like to thwart the murderers and gain a new power, allowing them to progress. Tavalia described Brutale as a schedule-based game, with important events occurring at specific times throughout the 12 in-game hours Boone is given to complete his task. This series of fixed, unchanging events breathes a tangible sense of life into the Marquis's mansion, especially as the game progresses and you grow familiar with key events that occur at certain points throughout the day. Great sound design ensures you're always aware of the current time too, with noticeable noises such as gunshots or the smashing of stained glass windows allowing you to orientate yourself within the tight time limit. But time, as you may have already gathered, is inconsequential. Brutale is, at its core, a puzzle waiting to be solved, but the only failure state it imposes is a one-way trip back to the start of the party. There are enemies, however, in the form of the masks worn by all of the mansion's inhabitants. Entering a room with another person sees time grind to a halt as the haunted masks lunge towards you in an attempt to force you back to the start of the day. Stealth is therefore key to solving the various mysteries, as you find yourself peering through keyholes in order to keep tabs on the patrol routes of the murderous staff and their unaware victims. Simply put, there's just nothing else quite like the Seti Brutale out there. Its individual parts may be derivative in some way or another, but placed together it feels like an expertly crafted clockwork mansion, a deliciously pieced together work of absolute genius. Each section usually begins with you simply attempting to uncover what exactly is about to occur. You stalk the area, following the victim whilst attempting to keep an eye out for the inevitable killer. Along the way you're likely to find items, objects that can be interacted with, and perhaps even the murder weapon itself. After a few cycles of this, it's time to initiate some sort of plan. Every murder is understandably preventable, and the goal is to simply stop it without anyone even knowing you were there in the first place. This could be through a direct action, such as replacing an actual bullet in a rifle with a blank, or by simply distracting a guest who is about to drink a cup of poison by changing the channel on a television. Conquering these tiny challenges feels wonderful, and the payoff of thwarting a task that may have initially seemed impossible makes you feel a little like the reverse Agent 47 from Hitman, a hidden saviour rather than a silent assassin. It's just great fun, and as you may have already been able to tell from the footage I've been showing, the game is so stylish and pretty that exploring a new area is as exciting as saving someone. Each area has a distinct theme, which ranges from a quaint English chapel to a vibrant 1920s style casino, complete with this Grim Reaper card dealer and a giant spider, I guess. All of this is punctuated with a vibrant store that's perhaps one of the catchiest of the year. Excuse my hyperbole, but the Seti Brutale is a game so wonderful it makes me happy in the knowledge that it simply exists. It won't take you long to beat, and it's perhaps a little rough around the edges in some areas, but on the whole it's truly unlike anything else out there on the market today. It's available now on Steam, Xbox One and PS4, but the exciting news, and the catalyst for the creation of this video, is that it's coming to the Switch this month. Nintendo's handheld is the perfect fit for Brutale, as its boxed off areas work great with the drop-in, drop-out nature of handheld play. I'd maybe recommend you play it all in one go though, preferably on the big screen, and maybe even with a few friends too. It's a great experience that's bound to delight anyone who takes part in playing it.